Simons County, Street 52, is a neglected street, and Jan has lived on that street before. It's a place where almost on one is at sight. It is a street that isn't good for children to live on. But in that place lived the Special Forces captain's daughter. Jan tells this to the instructor commander. By hearing this, the commander asked if he has played with the captain's daughter. Jan replied, yes, and says that, as there were not many children, so they all knew each other. By seeing the commander expressions, Jan gets that he is not believing him. All the things that Jan has said is a lie, so how in the world the instructor commander will believe in such a half-assed lie? But Jan has no other choice. He had to make the commander believe in his lies. In a situation where the Special Forces captain and the commander instructor are at loggerheads, although the commander has been searching high and low in the country for the captain's weakness, but he wasn't able to find out the exact location, and the evidence of that would be him reacting to the location that Jan spoke of. Jan thinks that he must make use of this information. The commander says that he finds it a bit strange that even though Jan knows the location of the captain's daughter, but how he is sure that she is the captain's weaknesses. Jan replies that he heard it in person in the past when he was talking to the captain's daughter. She told him that she will be leaving this place soon, and after. Jan asked her for the reason. She replied that there are bad people who are after her dad, and those bad people are looking for her so they can threaten her dad. So, her dad said to her that she have to leave this place, and after a few days later she disappeared as some people in black clothes brought her away. Jan then says that he only knew after he came here that those people were members of the Special Forces, and she is the daughter of the Special Forces captain. The commander hears to Jan's story very carefully, and after that he says that how come all the things have come together like puzzle pieces. Jan says that it might be that the goddess of luck is helping him. By hearing this, the commander throws a pen at Jan. Jan dodges the pen so it did pierce him and hits the wall behind him. The pen makes a small cut on Jan's face. After that, the commander says that, after heeding all the things, he thinks that Jan is the spy of the captain. Jan says to the commander that he understands why he thinks that. He also says that it is not a coincidence that all the pieces of the puzzle has come together. He is the one who personally picked the puzzle pieces and connected them so he could survive. Jan then says that if he really were a spy. As the commander mentioned, there's no need for him to risk his life and try to escape, and this information is for him to use in case his escape attempt failed. So he kept it for this moment. The commander hears him and nods his head. To make the commander believe him more, Jan tells him that he also knows that where the captain's daughter is taken to. The commander then stands up and faces towards the window and says that if really the goddess luck is on his side. By hearing this, Jan gets happy as his plan to the make. The commander believe him has worked. Commander then says Jan to go back. With this, Jan has overcome a crisis, even though the commander probably doesn't believe everything. Jan said, but this is enough for now. As time goes, Jan will get closer to him, slowly. Jan then says the commander farewell and takes his leave. As Jan leaves, the commander thinks that how a guy like him is number 974, and he thinks that the instructors have no eye for evaluating people. The commander then takes the form of Jan in his hand and smiles. After that, a week later, at the demonic realm Blade Mountain ranges, the first Special Forces trainee soldier exam starts. The demonic realm Blade Mountain ranges is a restricted area in the Empire. This area is one where all sorts of monsters inhabit and is undoubtedly the most dangerous place. As the first Special Forces trainee soldier exam begins, some trainee soldiers are hunting in the swamp goblin area. The scent trainees killed all the goblins there and make the place flooded with goblins' blood. The trainees starts to think that the demonic realm Blade Mountain ranges is not dangerous at all, and the 7 days they need to spend here to pass the test will be done easily. The leader of the trainee team told them to be quiet and also reminds them about the other condition for passing. The test is to kill monster and collect demonic crystals from them. He also says that even if they survive, their scores are determined by the number of demonic crystals they have gathered, and if they get a lot of demonic crystals, they will be able to climb not just higher status, but maybe even higher than the 4 great families. While they were talking about this, a huge hand comes from the top and grabs the head to a trainee and just simply twist it, as this is how the trainee number 320 died in the hands of a gold ogre. Gold ogre is a mutated ogre species. It conceals its presence with mana before approaching its prey. By seeing the use monster, all the trainees get scared and takes attacking position. The gold ogre then rises, the number 320 trainee, and starts to shake him. The ogre then swing its hand, and instantly killed 2 trainees, the instructor. Commander watches all of this with a green crystal. After watching all of this, he tells all the other trainees that the first 30 trainee that were sent to the demonic realm mountain ranges are all death, and to proceed quickly, they will send 50 trainees to the demonic realm mountain ranges after every 5 minutes. Yan thinks that he has to eventually go inside the demonic realm. Yan looks at the instructor and sees him happy. Yan then thinks that if he needs to get closer to the commander, he will need scores that are extremely outstanding, and to achieve that, he would first need to do something about this body, because there's a limit to how much he can grow with a half-assed divine dragon's breathing technique. Yan then smiles a bit, because it will be beneficial for him to go inside the demonic realm. There are still 2 treasures in the demonic realm that still no one knows about, and if he gets them, he will be able to grow faster. After that, an instructor comes and tells something to the commander. Yan gets a bit confused, as this scene never happens before. After that, the commander and the rest of the instructors kneels down by saying the trainees to pay their respects to the ruler of the Kavalan Empire, the legitimate successor of their great emperor. As they says this, the crown prince, Leon Kavalan, arrives there. By seeing him, Yan gets totally shocked because based on his past memories, the only notable event that occurs during this time is the death of 500 trainees, but the scene that is happening now is a special event. The crown prince greets all the trainees and introduces himself. All the trainees then fell on their knees and greets the crown prince. But Yan gets very angry, and this blood starts to boil out of anger. The crown prince then tells all of them to be at ease. He also says to all the trainees to raise their hands if any one of them want to get out of this hellish place. The crown prince also says that he swear upon his name that he will guarantee their safety. As Yan hears this, he gets super shocked, as this not the prince that he used to know. After that, we can see a little flashback of Yan's past life at Capital Avalon at the Emperor's residence. Yan has come the Emperor Leon and says that the team they have sent has successfully burned the demonic crystals mine, and now they are trapped and they should send reinforcements to safely bring them Emperor. Leon says Yan to leave them as they are so that they can sacrifice themselves and take down some enemies. Yan says that they should not just abounded their soldiers that has fought for the empire. The emperor then says that the world is like chess. All the pieces only exists for the sake of the emperor, the one and only king. The Emperor Leon also says that it will be a great honor for them to sacrifice their life for him. This type of person is Leon, who is merciless and cruel. Back to the present, Leon the Crown Prince tells all the noble family's children who has entered in this special training to earn strength to go back, unless they wants to go UP against him when he ascend the throne. By hearing this, all the trainees get shocked. Yan also cannot understand if the Emperor Leon and this Crown Prince Leon are the same persons. The commander then goes towards the prince and tells him that by hearing his speech, all the trainees are in huge shock. The prince then says that, "What's the reason for conducting such an unethical project like this?" The commander replies that, "The special forces exist for the sake of protecting the empire and the emperor." By hearing this, the prince shouts at commander that not to say something this ridiculous in front of him. The prince also says that the emperor exists for the people and orders the commander to stop this evil practices. The commander replies that this is something His Majesty has approved, and everything here is done legitimately within the bounds of the laws. The prince shouts legitimate and says that if there is anyone among the trainees that has volunteered for the test, he will stand down on one among the trainee has volunteered. But after a while, Yan stands up and greets the prince and introduces himself and says that he would like to participate in the test. The prince looked shocked and asked Yan that as he is a low-ranked trainee, isn't he as mistreated here? And so why he is willing to participate in the test. Yan agrees with the prince that he is mistreated here, but there's something here that's given fairly regardless of their rank. And that is the qualification for them to risk our lives in order to climb higher. And that's why he wants to participate in this test to achieve something great. By hearing this, the prince gets a bit disappointed and leaves by telling the commander to continue the test and he watching. As the prince leaves, the test begins. Trainees are sent to demonic realm via a rap gate. Eventually, the turn of Yan has also come. He then stands on the rap, and green light starts to appear for the grounds marking. All this time, Yan thinks that in his previous life, Leon didn't come to the training center, and he is also completely different from the Leon he knew. Yan then asked himself if all of this is happening because of his influence, and what has really happened to Leon. While thinking all of that, Yan has been teleported to the demonic realm. As he gets teleported, he sees that there is no one else around him, so he walks to scout the area and tries to find a weapon. As he walks, he smells a familiar smell of sulfur and demonic energy. From the smell, he gets it that he is in the Blade Mountain Ranges, Valley of Wind. As he was standing still, he sensed that a monster is approaching him from behind. On the other side, where the rest of the trainees are, a cockatoo griffin has launched its attack to the trainees. The trainees gets panicked by see the monster rushing towards them. But at that time, rank 1 trainee Lorena Beowulf comes, and by using the Dark Soul 15 form technique, Stardust, she kills the monster. The trainees that began to thank her for saving their lives. Lorena then asked that if their team is made up of low-ranked trainees. They replied yes, and says that their team is mainly made up of 700 ranked trainees. They also says that as many of their members are injured, so they are facing hardship to get out of the valley, so they request Lorena that if they can travel with her team until they get out of the valley. Lorena replied that they can follow them as much as they like, as it doesn't matter to her. By saying this, Lorena starts to think to Yan as she has not seen him. The bold attitude of Yan in front of the prince has left quite an impression to her. She also cannot get it, that why Yan is so willing to participate in this hellish test. While she was thinking all of this at that time, rank 2 trainee Cruel Dwight comes and says to Lorena that she is doing something stupid again for letting these vermins in 700s to follow them, as they will be a burden for them. Cruel also asked that if she is willing to take care of them as their parents, and if she thinks that this generous compassion of her will help anyone. Lorena gives an angry look and says, Cruel, to watch what he is saying, and also tells him that a rank of someone doesn't tell everything about them. While the two of them are talking at that time, the ranked 3 trainee Kasha Everain comes and says that why they are arguing with each other. She then tells to Cruel that he is really short-sighted. Cruel asked what she is saying. Kasha says that this test is an individual test, so there is no need to complete among each other. Cruel then asked that if she is also willing to travel with this vermins. Kasha replied that with a bigger team it will be easier to deal with a crisis. She also says that as a noble, shouldn't they lead the commoners? Ha, noble, can you call the bloodline of a traitor? A noble as well, you want to lead the commoners? Let's see, what did the Everain family do while leading the commanders? Be careful, it'd be such a waste if the last Everain went to the gallows, right? Cruel said this to Kasha. Thanks for your concern. I guess I was too focused on trying to restore my family, though Cruel, I'm so envious of you in times like that. Since you have your two older brothers taking charge of the Dwight family, you can just live however you wants. Kasha replied this to Cruel. By hearing this, Cruel gets mad and tries to kill Kasha, but Lorena steps in and stops Cruel from doing this. After that, Cruel starts to walk away and says that he will only lose out by traveling with useless bastards like them. He then starts to walk away alone, and after a while he found traces of blood on the ground. By seeing the blood droplets, he starts to follow it. He then comes to the place and thinks that it would be a monster den, so he hides himself behind a boulder and picks a bit. But by seeing the scene, he gets shocked as there is a human who has killed a large number of red goblins and is eating the heart of the goblins.